So someone actually, I think, during Mike's presentation brought up sub 22-year-old founders. So as an example, that was me when I was a child, 17 years old, starting a company. And hopefully this presentation, you can see what we've been working on for the last 4 years and how I got my gray hair. So I'll start off by talking about competition. This is something that we kind of study and look at very carefully, and we've noticed in the last 20 years or so, there's been a huge development, and not just gaming specifically. We look at gaming as kind of a means of competing, as well as socializing, viewing media broadcasts, and fantasy sports, and staking, and this whole industry has kind of evolved from this kind of thing that's been a part of human nature, which is just competing and socializing, right? So in the last 20 years, we've seen things like Topgolf come to take place and completely change the way we look at golf and driving ranges and make it more accessible and reduce the learning curve. We've seen companies like chess.com build online games with large player networks and taking that data and insights and all this stuff and providing back to the players, giving them a chess.com score, giving them networks to play at any time, any moment. And even live stream sports and in the mainstream audience as well, there's a lot of stats and overlays that have been added to games like baseball with StatCast in the mid-2000s and how that kind of grew into fantasy sports, and even today the market is bigger than ever. So that kind of caught my attention when we started looking into the poker industry. And me, when I was back in college, was playing on the Georgia Tech poker team, and I saw the possibility that data did for online poker and how it grew significantly, the poker boom in the early 2000s, and then recently in the last 5 years or so. But there were a lot of problems with the market itself, and it being this market of over 100 million people in the world who know how to play poker. There's the pro players who would play hundreds of millions of hands every year in casinos, card rooms, World Series tours, right? And none of them would get any insights on the game and the stuff they were doing. They didn't have any ability to share that data. They had no ability to kind of play beyond just the monetary value that they would get from the game. And that went beyond into the social side where you play with friends and family either online or through these free games and apps where there is a extremely high barrier to entry to even understand how the game works. There's no ability to have a live experience, which is how the game should be played. And you have to have this access to these large player pools for it to even be useful. And going down even into the home industry where people would play on the weekend in your house where many of you might have even played. And that's, again, has many of these issues with the social side, but also the idea that there's no ability to learn more varieties of the game or keep it interesting. And you also have no source of truth when it comes to that monetary transactions in the game, right? So we looked at all these issues and we kind of said, how can we go and attack this with in a live setting? And I broke down the market into kind of these categories, right? You have the streaming side in the competitive area where you can live stream games, and that's about 1,000 tables in the world today. If very few people get to actually play on these live stream games, but technology is being added there, and that's like a way to enter the market. There's a competitive poker side like the World Series, the World Poker Tour, and all these casinos and card rooms that are there in the world where majority of the players play. But then there's this untouched industry of the casual players, the recreational players who just play at home and buy a kit from Target and play. And I think that's where the multi-billion-dollar market is, and the ability to take technology and take that to the next level. But we obviously started where the market already existed with these pro players. So what do? Well, we looked at the 800 million hands played every year, and we realized that 0 hands are recorded. So how do we start recording that data and providing that data to players, start live streaming, automating these insights for card rooms and players? And last time I did this presentation back in the Unbounded Perspectives in Austin, I talked about how there were 0 hands recorded, but actually, as today, there's 53,000 hands recorded on our system, and it's a small portion of the hands being played worldwide, but it's still to show that all the data that's being recorded in live poker is right now coming from us, and we capture 100% of the data, and we kind of completely change the way this experience is actually made, and I'll do a demo of that a little later. So that's the journey we kind of set up on. So I started, you can see on the top left, the picture of me in my parents' basement trying to put a table together with just a bunch of antennas and some wood from Home Depot, and started turning into this piece of cloth, works with some manufacturers, and on the right you can see some of our biggest customers today using these tables to kind of live stream games, collect data, provide insights to players. And this is kind of the journey we went on taking RFID technology, putting them in the chips, in the cards, in the tables, the antennas, and even stuff like smart light systems, TV screens, live streaming overlays, taking different technologies and seeing how can you apply that to a very vertical industry, right? And that's kind of what we do now. We take that connected equipment, which is at the base of the entire product, and we build software on top of it that lets you connect to the players using RF Mobile, our app that provides players insights, AI coaching, the ability to watch live streams and data and share hand histories with each other. You also have RF Cloud, which is for card rooms and arcades to manage their games and see if there's any cheating going on. access a player pool and be able to notify them, essentially a CRM for them, and also get a lot of insights and ability to make the game more interesting through commentary and a lot of other insights there. So this is a little demo of what the entire experience looks like. This is actually in a restaurant that we work with, and we actually put up 3 tables there. Those tables are all connected to each other. And the TV screens, the lights, you'll see it feels like a normal poker experience, but the players go there, they play for free, and they take that data and essentially, while the video is probably going to load, I'll kind of give some context there of how it works. We work with the card rooms, and these card rooms are basically already running these poker games. You go there, you play, pay hourly. But the big market of that arcade side is actually in these restaurants, in these arcades where you can come play for free. You just buy food and drinks. We do a rev share with the restaurant. And through those food and drinks, players get to play and get free prizes that they get to play with. So you end up going, spending a couple hours with friends and family playing the game. But you also get this huge experience of, as you can see here, playing on the table. It feels like the dealer is dealing on a normal 9-handed table. And as the cards start to read, you'll start to see the lights in front of them start to turn green, right? And that's showing that the cards have been read, your RFID card's been read, and now action's on you, right? So these players are sitting here just having fun with their friends. They have the chips in front of them. They're making decisions that in real time make it look like and feel like a normal poker table. But we have these trained dealers who sit here and can actually look at all the stats that are being collected on the table and be able to control the game as well. So for example, you'll see here in seat 1, Sandra just bet. She bet in a certain amount. The action changes to seat 3, and his lights on him right now. He folds, and you can see as the players fold, the lights turn off. And players can actually stay attentive and increase the experience. Even right now, if you look at that, someone just went all in. And on the TV screen, it shows what their cards are when they're all in. The flop, the turn, river, and all the TV screens around the room show it. So people are more engaged. And look at that. Selena just hit a 10. She hit her pair. So the crowd goes wild. And you're back to the game, right? So this is the experience from a live setting, right? Unlike any other game, you feel like you're playing on a normal table. There's RFID embedded in everything here. You can see that as the cards get read, it shows up on the tablet, and it shows up on the stream. This is what the overlays look like. What people can watch on YouTube Home live as this is going on, right? It's on a 15-minute delay. This is actually the current hand where Sandra and Rich are fighting it off, right? And Sandra gets Rich to fold, and he's upset, and she gets to see this clip and share it with all her friends afterwards. So all this stuff is connected in real time using our technology, and we build the overlays to the TV screens, to the app that you'll get later. And we're kind of taking these technologies and seeing how can you vertically kind of apply it to a specific game, and then how do we take that and apply it to 10 more games, right? And our biggest market is kind of coming through the app right now. So the app is essentially, you can see all these stats after the game's over. So it has like this post-life to the game. You can watch the live streams, see every hand that's taking place. You can even go in and see what other people had after the game, or go one step further and even share it. See on social media what people think about the moves you made, or even ask our AI in the app that we just released 2 weeks ago, and it'll give you direct feedback. So we're taking all those things like I talked about at the beginning about reducing the learning curve, taking the insights and stats and AI that things like chess.com are doing, and also the elevating the live experience like Topgolf is, and doing it for poker at a level that's never been done before. And from there, you'll kind of see, here are our leaderboards. We provide prizes to players on a monthly basis. So people are kind of staying competitive and seeing how they're playing and improving their game. And you can also go follow players, get notifications. So it's an entire world of itself beyond the game that you play in that experience. I think there was one more slide or 2 more. But let me see real quick. Okay, cool. Yeah, so essentially what you saw there was just how we're changing poker, right? And we're using this experience to kind of change the way poker is played in a live setting, arcades and card rooms, but also looking at other games now where we see how people have changed darts, or you can see here, even cornhole is a massive industry that we never even heard of until a couple weeks ago. And apparently there are people, thousands of games being played in each state in bars of cornhole, hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on software just to run the game every evening, right? Same thing with billiards, with the live TV or chess tournaments that are happening at homes. These are basic games that require game theory and data and strategy, but they're playing at a very competitive level, but not acting on that social side. And that's kind of what our technology is meant to do. So our next steps is to take this to the next level, is continuously add more technologies to it from a product perspective, and also go beyond and take it to these other markets like we've talked about, home games, arcades, and the social side, beyond what we're doing in card rooms today. So you can see adding the global player networks, even things like what we've done with the 360 video you just saw is the 360 video footage that we've been recording, and creating automated overlays and systems where you don't need a full camera setup of 10 cameras. You can do it with one 360 camera, or a VR experience, an AR experience. Even in terms of storing the data, doing that kind of in a way that's more secure, maybe even publicly on chain in the future. And we're even talking about the ability to do micropayments between players and a player-to-player kind of basis, because they already are able to kind of transact within the game of sharing hands with each other. Why not go one step further, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing from a coaching perspective, from a sharing perspective, and that's kind of our job is to take this thing and see how can we completely change what competition looks like today, and do that using technology.